Hello. Okay, I think this is working. So we can start sharing the new information about the game. So before I go into the game details, I want to quickly show my experience about the development and the hacking itself. So my commercial experience in the software engineering is about 11 years now, and hacking and the offensive security was always close in my experience. So for example, this hack the box page where you can hack into the testing boxes and try to learn. And I have most of the easy and medium boxes hacked on my account, and the hard ones not so much, but this is also something I want to progress with. And probably next year I will change the department in my job into the security. So this is all connected from my perspective, and I like the games, so I thought that I will try to link both together and see what I can achieve. Okay, so that's kind of brief start. So let me launch the build now. Okay, so I know this is hacking game, but I, from my perspective, the normal scenario, normal scenario in the hacking game where we have only the computer screen. It's not that depth as we should have for the hacking game. So what I try to do is to bring some different experience for the hacking game and do it as a role-playing game instead. So obviously hacking is the main theme of the game, but I want to show you that it's not only about the computers. As you can see, I have some character. As a player, you will be able to choose between male and female. This model, which I show you now, it's a temporary model, and the same is for the map. So it is not the map which will be in the game. It's testing for the testing purposes. But this shows some of the ideas which I include in the game. For example, this metro where we start, it's one of the transport pieces which we will be able to use in the game, and will be actually important one because this is not the Grand Theft Auto clone, so stealing cars will not be as easy as in this kind of games. And the same to get your own car, it won't be that easy. So let's try to leave the metro. You can switch between cameras, the third person and first person camera. At this moment, I will leave both of them in the game, but I created main focus of the first person camera. So, depending if I will reach any problems in the development, I may disable third person, but I think this will stay. The models which you see, I bought them from the third party people, because I'm not the designer, I'm not the graphic, and so this is something I can do. And the city which you can see here is some generated city by some tools and by some models. And this is for some example. But what I want to show you here, that even with this kind of generic buildings and the buildings which are not prepared manually, even for this I can prepare, for example, this kind of interiors and prepare the places where player can interactively do something. Like in this example, you can change the dress. Because as a role-playing game, it's like a mandatory to change the clothes. But don't there will be obviously statistics of the clothes, but don't expect something like armor, etc. It will not have any impact on the damage which you can get if you have, for example, shot. So this is not a game to play like a Grand Theft Auto. So it's like 2-3 times you get a shot and your character dies. So this is not the way this game is meant to be played. But for example, if police is chasing you and they know how you look and you change the clothes, this can help you with getting away. So that's one example where this can be useful. And the same will be for changing hair, for example. Okay. Similarly for the cars, I don't have prepared the animations, so you can see this is some kind of placeholder here. I just want to show you that there will be also this kind of way of traveling in the game. But as I said, it won't be that easy to stall the cars, and if you steal the car, the police will remember about this. So it's not like you will run away 3 streets away, and this car is meant to be used. They will still remember this, and later in the future in the game, they can chase you, and they can find that, for example, you can go to the prison. So that's something to remember about. As you can see, I didn't add to this map any NPCs, so you don't see any traffic or any cars. And this is because creating roads for the driving and for the NPCs is a bit work for myself. So I prefer to not do it for the side maps as this one, if I don't have to. So this is not the purpose of this short demo today. So I didn't include this. Okay, but as I said at the beginning, it's about the hacking. So let's go to the computers. So as you can see, we have some two computers in this garage, but they are shut down, so we can't use them. So this is some kind of mechanics which also will be used in the game, that you can have impact on, for example, lights, and you can have impact on the power. So for example, if you in some areas where you will go physically, and you can cut off power of some computers which are used by administrators. So it will be easier for you to hack into the other computers which use different power routing. So that's something which you can use in the future. And now, if you run this, you can see there is a computer. So this is like a kind of Linux system, if you will. There will be multiple networks depending on the area where you are. Some of them will have passwords, some not. You are able to crack into the passwords if the password is not too difficult. So that depends. Some networks won't be able to. You won't be able to crack into it. So you will have to try and find another route. There's a different speed of the network. So depending on it, some of the actions will take you more time and some of them will take you less time. There are some changes which from previous videos, which were actually far ago. So for example, the folder structure is different. Then the notepad is a bit different. The chat is a bit different. So here you can see an example of kind of dialogue. So you can have dialogue outside of computer, and you can have dialogue, for example, on this chat. So that's something with branching structure where you can drive the story and proceed with some quests which you can have. So in the notes, depending on your difficulty level which you choose, some of the tabs will be created automatically and they will be read-only, so you will not be able to delete them or to change them. And this is to help you as a player. So if you see, for example, some useful credentials, the game will save them for you automatically in this kind of notes if you want. If you prefer not to, then you can choose obviously the option not to do it, and then you will have to create a notes on your own. Okay, obviously there's a console and terminal application, and let's see first our IP address because we will need it in later stage. So I will write it down quickly. Okay. And then obviously you can navigate on the folders and the files. One thing which I want to show you is that the tab is not working here. So as you can see, I clicked up on this in this moment, and this is not working. This is intended. I will show you in a moment how to do it. This is my way to simulate the non-interactive shell, which happens when we do pen testing in real life. So let me quickly go outside of the game for a moment. And I want to show you in the real life what I mean. So you can see this is my real Kali Linux on the VirtualBox. So let me run the netcat to listen on this port. And now if I open the reverse shell, to my local account on this port, I must have done some mistake here. Port. Okay, so this is kind of reverse shell. So I connected back into to my system on this port, and here I have shell, but this is not fully interactive shell. So for example, if I try to go to the last folder writer, if I click tab, it's not working. So it's not auto completes the command. So this is what I try to simulate in the game. But this is also something which gives some additional challenge to the player. On some of the systems you will be able to fix this. On some of the systems you won't be able to fix it. So for example, we can install the enhanced shell in this system. And now if I click tab, it will autocomplete. So that's some simulation of non-interactive shell, which happens very often in real time, in real life. Sorry. Okay, so that was one thing. Another thing is the second computer. We can go here for a moment. This is like a simulation of Windows. So for example, you instead of power of the command line of the shell, you have the kind of PowerShell equivalent. So this is PowerBlue here. There are some different commands, like for example, on Linux, we had ipconfig in this system. We have ipconfig. So that's some small example of changes. There's also a change that some of the applications you will be able to use on one type of the system, but they will not work on another type of the system. So this is good to remember. Okay, there's also one thing, because for the Linux systems, you will be able to connect with SSH But for example, for this kind of Windows systems, we'll be able to use remote desktop. So this is work in progress from my side. And it's not fully completed, but as you can see, I connected here remotely to this other computer, and I can use it from here. So this is the same as we see before. Okay, so that's okay. So now we have this physical environment, and there will be a way that police or someone else will eventually track you down and trace your computer and trace where you stay. So as a player, you can move between the places, and you can create new computers. So we can simulate this now. This will be, of course, depend on the equipment of your character, and obviously this will be possible to do in places where you have access to the power, for example. But we can try to do it here and create a new computer, which is completely new one. And now we can connect to the same network. And from here, we can try to do some SSH cracking. So I prepared some simple page for this video that we can use this SSH crack browser page to download this. And you can see that this file is for this Red Unix only. So we can actually quickly validate this. If I come back to this blue different operating system, and I will go and download this SSH crack. And I will try to use it. So you can see it says that it can be only used on Red Unix. So sometimes some of the programs will be used on Red Unix, and some of them will be used on this kind of Windows. And this is also to give some additional challenge for the player that even if you break into this system, you won't be able to use some tools which you would like to use, and you need to find another way to hack into the network further. Okay, so let's come back to this one, the SSH crack. And start the enhanced shell. Okay, so let's see help. So we can use the SSH crack with giving the host and the user. So at some of the old videos, I showed also the different version of SSH crack, but now it's more simplified. And let me also show you how it looks in the real life. For example, you can use Hydra, and you have a lot of switches and parameters to use in the real life and real pen testing. And this is fine because we have a lot of different scenarios. But for the game, I think this is a little overkill, and I try to find a balance between the the options and the experience for the player, because I don't want it to be too difficult for the player. So I try to simplify some of these things. So that's why this SSH crack is simplified for now. So I wrote down the IP for the first system. So let me quickly try to break into it. I know it's a root user, and we can see some outputs. And we can see that it found the password. Depending on the system and the password which is used, sometimes it will take long time, sometimes it will not work at all. So in this case, you will have to find a different vector of attack. So now you can try to connect into it. And you can see the prompt change. So we are on the different system. So you can see this is the same as at the beginning. Okay. One more thing I like to tell, but I don't have it prepared for this demo, but I wanted to tell that maybe you noticed. Let me come back to the first system. Maybe you noticed the notepad is a bit different than it was previously. It will be similar for the code editor. There's also quite a change how it will work. And I also changed the language which I use for the scripting. Previously it was Miniscript, which I was modifying for this game, but it had some negatives from my point of view, so I changed it to the C#. So you will be able to create a script using normal C# code with some restrictions. And this is also one additional advantage from my point of view, because the entire game is written in the C#. So this is like natural way of allowing modifications for the game. So outside of the scripting in the game, it will be easier for me to prepare the game. So you can prepare some mods if you like for from your point of view, or even for me to prepare some extensions later in the future. It will be easier. So this is something I decided to do. Also, what I showed now is like a simplest of simplest scenarios. So obviously we didn't use Nmap, and so first you will actually scan the network and scan the target to see, for example, if this SSH is open or not, and what other services are on the system. For the network, there is a aircrack to hack into it, but obviously that will not work for all of them. What I try to do is to prepare multiple ways to hack into the system, but some of them may be more difficult than others. So in this way, you can find your way through the game. Obviously, as I said previously, this map is generated for today purposes. The map which will be used in the real game, it's actually, I think, one of the most time-consuming things to do for myself, because I not that much experience in the 3D modeling, so that's more complicated. But I want I want this city to be quite interactive. It probably won't be that big, but at least it will be, I hope, interesting for the player. Um, so yeah, I think that's it. What I wanted to show today. Um, and yeah, I hope you liked the way where this game is going. It's a bit different, which from what I thought previously, because previously I didn't think about the physical environment and the way this game evolved is it made this a little complicated for me also, and it will take some time for me to do everything. But I what I want to do is to give you different experience for the hacking game, because from my perspective, this is perfect team for the role playing game, but we don't have this kind of games currently. So that's what I try to deliver, and this is what I'm working on. So yep, that's all for me. And if you have any further questions, we can call or we can talk on the Discord. Thank you.